How many times have you presented a demo, have you presented a POC, and people said, oh, well, it works already, so let's ship it? Well, nope, it doesn't work like that. First, hackathon team versus production team. Those are really different. You can see it. The hackathon team was just 5 people. Data scientist, data analyst, iOS developer, backend developer, and Android developer, obviously. We are Droidcon. And this is the actual production team, way bigger, because as I said before, many things are overlooked during an hackathon project. For example, in this case, we didn't have proper UX. Yeah, it looked nice, but it wasn't proper UX. There was no legal check behind it. There was no tracking of the user behavior. Performance were awful. We cut so many corners while doing it. So remember, this is all where the feature started, but it's not the actual feature. We worked on that to bring in production. Welcome, and thank you everybody for being here. Today, we are going to find out how a feature brewed during an hackathon can see the light of production, hence Lumos. So, let me first introduce myself. I'm Luca Rossi, and I'm an Android engineer at Subito, which I joined about 3 years ago or so. For those of you who don't know, Subito is an online platform where users can exchange goods, cars, bikes, houses, or even look for a job. And currently, I'm part of the user monetization team. In the past 8 years, I've seen a lot of it when it comes to mobile development. I've seen, obviously, Android native, but also iOS native, a bit of hybrid with Flutter. I would like to see KMP, but also not the not so good part. For example, Windows Phone native, I've been there, or also Xamarin Forms, or Cordova hybrid. And yes, it's my first time on a stage, so thank you again for being here. So, an introduction, how it all started. Well, I want to ask you first, how many of you have ever taken part in a hackathon, or at least know what it is? Raise your hands, please. Okay, a few of you. Well, for the ones who never been to or don't know about it, I'm not going to actually explain you. Ask the person next to you. Just kidding. It's just an event when you crunch down a lot of work, you have a topic, you have to present some projects at the end of it that just barely works. Well, let's go ahead and say how it started for us. We, at Subito, wanted to host an hackathon to find new feature to introduce in our platform. We actually wanted those to be AI-related or AI-powered, but we wanted this feature to reach the stage of production, not make this hackathon become a graveyard of nice POC, nice ideas that just created, presented, and then stay there. And you may say, well, so what's so special about it? Well, we managed to do it. So I'm here to tell you about how we did it and how can you do it. But you have to remember one thing. An hackathon project is completely different from planning an hackathon event. Why I say that? Well, an hackathon project is done in a really short time. As I said, it could be 1 to 2 days. It usually barely works. It doesn't actually have to work to win the event. Usually the best idea wins. So if it doesn't work, it's fine. Because so many corners are cut while developing it. For example, you don't look at performance, you don't check legal constraints, and so on. Whilst planning an hackathon is completely different. You need time to do it, a lot of time. You have to be careful while doing it, and all the boxes in your list have to be checked. Because once you are at the event, it has to work the first time. There's no time to fix it. So, once you understand that, let's go on. And for you, it's time to look for support and help. What I mean with support. This is one of the things you should do before even starting. So, is anyone in your company, your peers, are they willing to participate in the event you want to organize? Well, I hope for you it's a yes, because otherwise nobody will show up. Then, if you're doing in your company, is your company actually going to support you? They are going to provide the tools, the needs, all the things you may need in it. And last, you should find someone who is going to help you with it, because you might do everything on your own. That could be nice, and you could manage to do it, but you don't have all the expertise in the world that maybe is needed, and you have only one point of view, while other people may have different that can help you find that maybe your idea wasn't the best for one thing. So once you have all those three, you can go on. And then, since you're a team, this is a good moment to choose the topic. Choose the right topic. And what I mean with the right topic? Well, right topic, first of all, has to be interesting. People have to be interesting in the topic you're bringing to the hackathon. Because they have to say, oh yeah, I want to participate. I'm really interested. I'm down to try it down. I want to work on it. So they have to get their gears turned. Next, which is really important as well, is it has to be aligned with your company objective. If you're not going to choose a topic which your company is interested in, you won't get as much support as you may need. And plus, your features may not see the light of production. So your topic is right in the middle when those circles match. Well, now that you have the team that help you with the support you need and the topic, it's time to start with organization and planning of the event. You're going to ask yourself many questions during this part, like how many days will it last, how much time will it last, when are we going to host it, and where are we going to host it, who will be taking part in the event. So let's break it down. Starting with the people. What I mean with the people, I mean the teams who are going to take part in the event. And when you think about the teams, it's a good idea to put boundaries in the number. Not only in the number of the teams, but also in the number of the people who will join the teams. For example, if you have only one team, it's not worth doing the hackathon. And if you have a team, you can have a team with only one person in it, that's fine. But if you have a team with so many people, too many people in it, it wouldn't be fair for the smaller teams. So it's a good idea to put a boundary. For example, we at Subito, in our hackathon, we had teams of 5, 6, 7 people, more or less. Then, the other part of the people is the voters, who will judge the projects, who will be responsible of picking the best ones. In this case, you have many options. I have listed some of them. For example, you could have a single judge that decides for everyone. You could have a jury of a limited set of people, for example, the management and so on. Or every team could have a vote for themselves. Actually, not for themselves. They can have to vote for the others, otherwise that would be a waste. Or you could even have a company-wide voting. Everyone in the company could check the projects online and say, oh, this is the best for me. I will vote it. Or you could do a mix of them. All of them, yeah, but also a mix of them. And if you're a judge or a jury, no corruption, please. Next up is the location. Where are you going to host the event? Mostly you have two options in this case, which is, the first one is on-site. Especially if you have an office, this is nice. Which has a couple of pros. That for me, the biggest one is the hackathon, what I call the hackathon feeling. When you're there, all together in the same room, doing an hackathon is really limited amount of time, so it's good to have fast communication, all on the same page, getting ideas out without losing time, like chatting via Slack or have to connect to a meeting. This is what I call the hackathon feeling, all there together. And it's easier for you as an organizer to follow all the teams which may have problems, issues, questions, since you're all there in the office. or in the actual venue. On the con side, it's way harder to organize because you need a venue. There are a lot of bureaucratic constraints, legal constraints that you have to check in it. And it's harder, especially now that many people are working remotely with smart working, for the people around the country, or even around not only the country you're in, to join, because it could be that the venue, the city your company is based on, is not close where they live. The other option is going remote, full remote. And in this case, pros and cons are actually switched. It's easier for you to organize, it's easier for the people to join, but it will be harder for you as an organizer to follow the team, and there will be less. Actually, I wrote no, but it's less of hackathon feeling because it's still there. You may say, well, why? Why don't we have both? You can go hybrid. So you can have both of them, you can have it apart in the office or in the venue, but also people will be able to join online. This case is a little bit harder to organize because you are going to organize actually both of them at the same time, but for me it's the best option for so many people will join. Once you've decided the location, it's time to choose the event, schedule and plan over time. In this case, you have to first decide the duration of the event. It could be 1 day or multiple days. You will do or only during working hours or even outside working hours. In this case, as I said before, again, some legal constraints to check, but we will talk about it later. Then, when are you going to host the event? Which date? In this case, it's a good idea to pick a part of the year where the company is not so much under stress, like there's not so much work. For us, for example, it's not a good idea to do it like in February or September, because this is where the company is under the highest amount of work, usually. And consider the opposite. Don't do it when people is on holiday. For example, if you're in Italy, if you do it like on the 15th of August, Ferragosto, don't expect anybody to show up. Nobody will be there. And also the last one is the date of the announcement. When are you going to tell the people you're hosting the hackathon? There might be rumors because you checked for support before, but it's important to give them at least 2 to 3 weeks to organize, to form the teams. If you're doing it in the office, to give the time for the people to get the trains, the means of transport, a location, where to stay. So 2, 3, 4 weeks is a good idea. And then, now, it comes what I call the last fun part. Because right now you're all together, yeah, we're doing it. But what I mean with the less fun part? Well, I said it multiple times before already, and it's bureaucracy. Bureaucracy, there is a lot of it. When you're in an office environment, there is a lot of it. For example, you're hosting the event in the office, well, you will need a fire prevention officer, a first aid officer, and also if you're doing it outside working hours, you will have to pay for it because it's extra time that people stay and work at the office. For that, I strongly suggest you to go and ask someone from administration, HR, someone that knows way better than you, at least, as long as you're not from administration and HR, obviously. After that, there is another thing, which is asking for a budget, asking for money. Nothing comes for free, even an hackathon. You could do it, but it's way harder. You should ask your managers, your company, if they are going to provide any budget for the event. You could have small budget just for example, provide food, drinks for all the participants. You can have budget for some gadget, like for example, we had a t-shirt for everyone, or this mug. And other than the gadgets and the food, you might have also the budget for prizes, which for me is really important. If I'm going to participate, I don't do it for the glory. I would like also a small prize. For example, we had Amazon coupons at the end of the event for first, second, and third. And if you really have a nice budget, it's a good way to spend it is to provide tools for the teams to produce better projects. For example, we had budget for AWS Machine Learning Suite. So all the participants could model, prepare the project even better, faster, and actually working. Well, you might think, well, this is all. Nope. Because as I said, the tools. Teams will need tools to participate and to do their projects. What I mean with tools? Well, they might need a place where to organize themselves, to propose their ideas, to build the teams. For example, we had a Miro board which worked really well. If I had an idea, I could just put, okay, I have this idea and I need this expertise in my team. And maybe someone else said, oh, you don't have an idea, but I like this one, and they need me. I will put just my face. So we had 5 teams in the end with 6 to 7 people each. And I must say, that Miro board really worked well. Then you will need communication channels. What I mean with communication channels, Slack channels, a public one where you provide all the communication to the participants, also provide your private channels for the organizers, for example, and like emails, a meet room where everyone could join to ask the organizer, especially if you're doing it remote. A constant meet room where they can join in and ask questions is a good idea. Speaking about communication, there is a communication plan. You shouldn't do everything via message or especially by voice. You should have also a communication plan. What we had was a mailing plan. We sent every major update on the organization was sent to the participants via email. We had one beginning to announcement to provide what here you're going to sign up. These are the rules. It's been 5 days since the last update. We are going to do it tomorrow. Remember to join. And then we told the winners via mail and with an event. One of the last things is a place where the teams can upload their projects. We simply had Google Drive, but there are specialized platforms for those. And then, as I said, tools to play with. We had AWS Suite. So let's see how our hackathon went. It was called From Data to the Light. How did it go? Well, teams had 2 weeks to prepare. It lasted only 1 day. We had 5 amazing teams. One was from a picture, a user would take a picture of the object they wanted to sell, and it would automatically compile the form to publish the object. Another, which was similar but different, from the form, it would generate a nice description to make it more appealing for the buyers. Then we had search via picture. Oh, I don't know the name of this thing. Well, let me take a picture and search for it on Subito. Then we have natural language search. I don't want to search for the correct keywords to perform the search. I will just type like I would type to my friend. And then the platform would do the search for me. Last but not least, there was the support chatbot for transactions. It really went well, and we had one winner at the end, which was Albus, the support chatbot. I must say that all the projects were really cool. And why? You may ask, why Albus? Well, we have a thing in Subito that every machine learning model, algorithm, takes its name from a character from the Harry Potter franchise, in this case, Albus. We have also Sirius and Draco, if I remember correctly. Well, let's see the demo from the event. If it... Let me just do it. Just give me a second. As you can see, this is the actual demo for the event. You will also see a Slack notification pop up. So here the user could ask the question to the bot, like, where's my package? I would like to know where it is. Then the bot will think and think and think. You see, it's really, really slow. As I said, performance are always overlooked during an hackathon. It keeps thinking and thinking what I have to ask this user. Well, Eventually, it will give an answer to the user. Let's just wait a bit more. You see? It worked. It provided the user the answer he wanted about his package. Where is it? That's all. This was all the presentation, the demo from the hackathon. As I said, it just has to deliver the idea in the end. Now, to production. And the chosen one, you have to think about one thing. No pun intended. Being the winner doesn't mean it's the best feature to take to production. In this case it was, yeah, it's right. But let's see why it was chosen to go in production. Well, in 2020 on Subito we introduced online transactions. So users could send their goods and sell, ship and receive at their door the goods they wanted. And the payments were secure because they were handled on our platform, so they didn't have to trust the seller for it. It has been a massive hit, a super feature. Users loved it, but it also introduced a slight issue, a problem, which actually wasn't that so slight, it was kind of big. It increased the pressure on our customer service a lot. More tickets means more money spent and less quality for the users, because those are the people who are answering are the same, and if the tickets are growing, they are not going to provide the same quality. So Albus looked like the golden opportunity to solve this problem. How many times have you presented a demo? Have you presented a POC and people said, oh well, it works already, so let's ship it? Well, nope. It doesn't work like that. Because, as I said before, many things are overlooked during an hackathon project. Like, for example, in this case, we didn't have proper UX. Yeah, it looked nice, but it wasn't proper UX. There was no legal check behind it. There was no tracking of the user behavior. Performance were awful. We cut so many corners while doing it. So remember, it's really nice POC. It will just stand there to show to the people this is all where the feature started, but it's not the actual feature. We worked on that to bring in production. So let's begin with the production flow. First, hackathon team versus production team. Those are really different. You can see it. The hackathon team was just 5 people. Data scientist, data analyst, iOS developer, backend developer, and Android developer, obviously. In this case, we are at Droidcon. And this is the actual production team, way bigger. Most of the people from the hackathon team joined the production team, but we added so many people to this team. We had UX, we have copy, we have other data analysts, data scientists, data engineers, more backend engineers, more iOS and Android web engineers, also product, an engineering manager, a lot of people. I think it was about 19, and there are also other people who participated in other ways. So, because they had to deliver a fully fledged product and maintain it. So, once the team was set, it was time to also set the objectives. How could Albus solve the tickets problem? Well, he had to provide answer on par, quality on par with the ones whose users were getting from the real people from customer service. He had to reduce the actual number of tickets open towards customer service, obviously, and improve the content of said remaining tickets. This to reduce the amount of time spent by our people to resolve the ticket. So now that we set the goals, it was time to plan the solution. We had to discover how to achieve the maximum impact on the minimum time. So first, we analyzed all the tickets we were getting from the users in transaction, about the transaction, and we found out that the top 3 tickets were amounting to 25% of the whole volume of tickets. So we targeted specifically those 3. We had to find out to provide a proper entry point for the user to join. For example, in this case, we had decided to go on the transaction page. That seems obvious, but we had to try it out which might be the best. We wanted to move from a free conversation input to a limited options provided by the bot in the answer. So in the demo, as you've seen, users could just type whatever they wanted. That might add like moderation. They could lead like the bot outside its boundaries. So we decided that the bot would provide the answer, the possible questions the users could ask the bot. Then we had to make it conversation aware. Before it wasn't actually. So you just had one question, one answer. In this case, the bot had to understand everything that was in the conversation up until there. And he had to open the tickets automatically. So it didn't have like, oh, I cannot solve this issue for you. Go and open a ticket, asking the user. That would be awful. So they would just ask, do you want me to open a ticket to our customer service for you? And that user could say yes or no. We will say it later. In the meantime, our legal team had to verify all the legal constraints about it, like which data of the users of the transaction can we use in this thing, in this feature. Which data could we retain? This is really big, because if you fail to it, you miss some privacy concerns, some privacy boundaries. You might get a fee as a company, and you have to shut down the feature, obviously. Now, after the product, UX and legal checks where discovery was all done, it was actually time to build the bot. What I mean to build the bot? Actually do it, developing it. But we couldn't just sit down and start typing. We want to program, we want to do it. No. Back up. First, we have to define the architecture, find the possible issues that are in it. So just sit down, decide the architecture, check it, do the technical discovery first. Just don't go and type the code immediately. Never do that. It's not an hackathon. I must say it again. In the meantime, the data analyst, the data scientists, engineers had to improve the model they used during the hackathon. They had to find out which were the issues with the model that was at the time, how it could be improved, how it could access users' information and transaction information, plus the documentation about the transaction. You had to access all this stuff in the meantime, and they worked on that. Our backend developers had to develop, you must guess, the backend services, while the clients had to implement the client part of the assistant. All of that, we were doing all of that after planning it down, the architecture. And as I said before, we had to track the user behavior, what the users were doing. Otherwise, we couldn't find if the feature was actually working, if we didn't know what the users were doing with it. This is true for all the features, obviously, not only this one. And last, support ticketing system. As I said, it had to integrate automatically with our support ticketing system, so the user didn't have to do them themselves manually. So, next up is, let's see how it went. This is the timeline of everything from the event of the hackathon, which was in June 2023, was called From Data to Delight. Since we work in quarters, we had to wait up to the next quarter to form the new team and start working. It took about 6 months, 5-6 months, to produce it, complete it, and ship it. But we didn't ship and make it public to the users. Oh, it's online, you go and check. We did a gradual delivery, like 10%, then 20%, and up and up and up, because we wanted to see if it was working, and we didn't want to break everything if something was wrong. Once we checked that everything was working fine, it was loved by the users which were using it, we with a go-to-market, our marketing team, product marketing team, worked to tell the users in the proper way that we had this new amazing feature they could use to solve their issues with their transactions. It took all around 7 months. Yeah, more or less 7 months from the day of the hackathon to the day of the go-to-market. Well, how it turned out in the end, let's see. This is the result in production. This is the transaction detail page where the user can check the state of this transaction. If he has any doubts, he could start the chat with the bot. As you can see, the bot provides a subset of questions the user can make. For example, here, which is the topic you have questions with? In this case, pagamento means payment in Italian. Everything is Italian. The app is in Italian. And it provides a simple answer and asks the users, did I solve your issue? The user could check yes or no. In this case, yes, and get out of the conversation. Easy peasy. Another thing that could happen, still payment, still the user asks about it. So in this case, it checks, what does the bot do? In this case, the bot checks which is the state of the transaction. I tried to pay. It sees that the user tried to pay already, but it didn't work. So it checks what went wrong, and it sees in the state of the transaction that the bank account refused the payment. So it asks the users, so I cannot do anything on my own. Shall I open you a ticket towards our customer service? Yes or no. Those are the options. Well, and now there is something about payment. It was a different state of the transaction in this demo. So the bot provides the answer and tells the user, did I solve your issue? User could say, no, it's not enough. Give me another option. In this case, the bot tells you, well, I don't have other option other than go to the FAQ and check the documentation about it, because I did everything I could. In this case, not worth opening a ticket towards customer service. So, which were the results at the end of it? Well, on average, Albus gives to our users 2,500 answers per day, which is a lot. It helped us by reducing the amount of transactional related tickets by 30%, which is really a lot. And the remaining tickets took 10% less to be resolved by our customer support team, which I must say, if you think about it in a money matter, is a lot. And also in customer satisfaction, since they don't have to wait for an actual person to take care of the ticket and answer it. So, we are almost at the end of it. Which are the takeaways? And what I mean with that, what did we understand both from the hackathon all the way to production? What did we understand how to take a feature, create an hackathon and take the feature to production? Well, hackathons are a great way to inspire amazing features. Why I say that? Because some ideas maybe won't come out with the usual discover process of a feature, because it's different. You follow in the same patterns when you do the discovery of a new feature. With an hackathon, you usually don't follow any pattern. Usually do. You go just go in, check for ideas. I have this idea. How can we do it? Okay, nice. Is this feasible? No. Let's switch to another one. It's a different mindset when you work on an hackathon. Then the events require careful planning. They are not easy to do, especially the one on site. So take your time to plan it if you want to do it. And this is really, really important. I won't stop to stress about it, an hackathon POC, an hackathon project is not a production-ready feature. You cannot go online with a POC like that. It will cause many problems because there are many things that you overlooked when you're developing it, thinking it, planning it. And also, the teams may be different because during the hackathon project, you didn't have all the expertise you needed to develop the actual feature. So the POC and the production teams might be different. Most times they will be. You've seen the number of people in the production team. The final product may also diverge from the original idea. For example, we had free conversation. The user could just put whatever they wanted. That worked for the presentation, but in production would lead to so many issues, so many more things we would have to check in the meantime, that we tone it down and change how the feature was built compared to the beginning. There are a lot of unchecked legal and technical constraints that might slow down the development. So don't go there and think, it's easy. We did it in 4 days. We will do it in production in just 1 month. No. Do all the planning, all the checks, do it before you start. So, because if you miss something, you might delay the feature by months in production. So we are really almost at the end. And it's time to ask, should you do it in your company? Well, short answer, it depends. Well, it might sound stupid, but it's right. A bit longer answer is try it and see how it goes. For me, you should do it, but first, if you don't try, you will never know for sure. It works for us, it maybe won't work for your company, but try it at least once. Maybe start with a smaller and simpler one, which I said are the remote ones, especially if your company is mostly remotely with people all around Europe, all around the world. It's a good idea to do it remotely, especially because it's easier, way easier to organize. And remember that not all the events will lead to a production feature. But don't give up. It's not all bad when an event doesn't lead to a production feature. We also had another hackathon 2-3 years ago, more or less, which was focused on accessibility on the platform, the site and the apps, which didn't actually end up. Anything from that didn't actually go in production, but it still brought some improvements because it made all of us more aware of the accessibility issue in our product. So UX started designing the feature in a more accessible ways. We, as developers, we started testing the accessibility when we were doing it. So it was an improvement anyway, even if no feature went to production. For example, just to talk a bit about Android, before Google presented their own version of the Compose preview for accessibility, we did it so we could have the preview with bigger fonts. We wanted to do it with high contrast colors and so on, just to add a bit of Android in this Droidcon speech. Well, I think this is everything. So thank you for joining me in this amazing speech. Thank you so much.
That's it. That's insane timing. It was the exact same as that. Holy mackerel. Anyway, marvelous job. Bravo.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Awesome.
If you want to get in touch, here are the links.
Brilliant. Oh, Linktree link. Marvelous. Yeah, that was incredible timing. Well done. Did you organize that with him?
Oh, no.
Okay,
we are just perfectly in sync with each other.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Right, okay. Thank you very much, folks. Again, the microphone is just there. Please ask a question. If anything, you were listening to Lucas talk and you thought, I'd like to learn a bit more about that. There's no wrong questions. Please head over to the microphone now to ask your question. Brilliant lighting again. Fabulous. Otherwise, there is one online.